Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Cognitive Recalibration podcast. As always, I'm your host, Shravan. We got Tyrone here with us.
Hey everyone.
And this is like the 7th time that we're attempting to record this episode. So I'm hoping this is the successful attempt because we had some technical issues and I've done this intro too many times now.
Yes, maybe not the 7th, but it's been a few times.
So we've definitely seen strange things.
Are you meant to put that thing in there?
The SD card?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in there.
It's in there. Okay.
Yeah. This is just the adapter.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a
just want to make sure.
Imagine. Imagine that happen again. I think we're good. So I can make my joke. So I made this joke again every single time we recorded this. So we ran up a hill, a road, and a building to get here today.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep. I've heard it 7 times.
Yeah.
So
The first time it didn't make sense, but I think slowly it's
making sense.
It's making a lot of sense now.
Look, yeah.
So, of course, we're talking about Stranger Things Season 4, or Stranger Things 4, as they call it. So it's kind of like a movie. This one actually released in 2 volumes. So it's actually the first time they've done this for a Netflix show where they've split it up for a season.
I'm
usually
guessing there's other shows that have done it. I cannot remember. On Netflix, there's probably other shows that have done it.
There's
just
some
less
shows,
popular shows.
Yeah. There are some shows that are like weekly releases. I think some of the K-dramas and stuff are
on
weekly.
Netflix.
Yeah, some of them are weekly.
But they're
releases.
not originals.
They're not originals, yeah. In terms of Netflix originals, I think this might be the first, at least in Stranger Things, they always did they dropped all of them at once, so you binge them, but they kind of split it up. And I think the reason they did it was to get the social media hype going in between the two.
I actually heard that the reason they did it was because the VFX wasn't finished on the last 2 episodes. It
probably also true. But it also gave them an opportunity to do a lot of press in between. And there was a bit of a cliffhanger.
I guess it might have been a conjunction of both. Or maybe they lied about the VFX and it was actually done. But apparently on the first, if you watched Stranger Things 4 Volume 2, on the day it dropped at midnight in America, if you watched the first 2 episodes, some of the VFX was
not
unfinished. Yeah. And then they polished it up later.
Yeah. They did that for something
on Disney Plus.
Yeah, something on Disney Plus. They did it for Spider-Man No Way Home as well.
Yeah.
Apparently the Andrew Garfield, if you watched it on opening day, which we did, the Andrew Garfield scene was didn't look as good apparently. I don't remember it, but apparently they fixed it up in week 2 of the release. But anyway, we'll do our usual format for this review. So we've done the background, but we'll jump into our non-spoiler thoughts on the show. So if you haven't seen season 4 yet, you can keep listening. If you haven't seen Stranger Things at all, probably don't keep listening because we'll probably do some spoilers.
And never come back.
Yeah. You probably don't need a second invitation not to come back. We'll probably do spoilers up till the end of season 3. And then I'll clearly indicate when we're doing spoilers for season 4. So if you haven't seen season 4, you can keep listening up till that point. All right. So this is going back a little while now, talking about volume 1. But I thought the best way to talk about this show would probably be in terms of the groups that they have. There's certain characters are grouped into separate sections. So maybe we'll...
racism. Segregation.
Well, they're all white, right? Except for Lucas.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, we'll do non-spoiler thoughts first. So positives-wise, this is Netflix's flagship TV show, and it's very obvious that they get a lot of budget going into these episodes. So I've got a bit of stats in terms of the numbers that went into these. So apparently it cost on average $41.5 million US per episode. which is a lot. So there's 9 episodes. That's more than a movie, easily. So a lot of investment has gone into this season of Stranger Things. Other things, it's been, comparing to other shows. So how much do you think Mandalorian cost per episode?
Less than this, I reckon.
It is less than this. So it's
because they film everything in a box.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So Mandalorian cost $15 million per episode. I think that was season. Oh, it just says the Mandalorian, so I'm assuming both season 1 and season 2.
I know that the Marvel Disney Plus shows are estimated to be about 25 mil per episode.
That's right. So Loki, WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier were about 25 million per episode. We did say Ms. Marvel cost more than this in our Ms. Marvel episode. I think we were wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think the final episode, which is 2.5 hours, cost 45 million. But that's a movie.
Yeah. That's like a mid-range horror movie budget. Yeah.
But the episodes prior that were like 40 minutes, they wouldn't have cost 45 million. They would have cost like less than 25 million.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
And each Miss Marvel episode is 40 minutes. Yeah. So
I don't think all of them would have cost the same as like a WandaVision or a Loki, though.
Yeah, but
for Miss Marvel, that is. Yeah.
But if you go dollar per minute, I think Stranger Things would cost less dollar per minute than Miss Marvel would.
Yeah, because it's longer duration. Yeah. I guess that makes sense. Game of Thrones, how much do you think it costs per episode of Game of Thrones?
I think they went up to, well, it depends which season. The last season went up to like 50 million, I think, per episode or something.
Yeah, so season 1 was 6 million. Season 8 was 15 million. And House of Dragon, which is not yet out, apparently they're investing 20 million per episode. So either way, it's an expensive show. And it does, when you watch it, it does show that they've put the investment into it because visually it is pretty spectacular. Other things, it is going to be, at this stage, it might already be the most watched show on Netflix in the English language. Clear distinction there. So when you take all shows on Netflix, it's still not the most watched.
Squid Game.
It's still Squid Game, and it's probably still going to be Squid Game. It's quite a way before it gets to Squid Game level. So, but it's the most popular English show on Netflix. You know who the title was previously held by?
Most popular English.
Yeah.
Prior to Stranger Things.
Yeah.
House of Cards.
Bridgerton.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, and then another stat. So Kate Bush's track Running Up the Hill, which I made a really bad joke on earlier, it entered the top 10 of the Billboard Top 100 chart for the first time in its 37-year history. So when it first came out, it actually wasn't in the top 10, but it is in the top 10 now. So the popularity is obviously come back just because of this show. I didn't even know who Kate Bush was, actually.
Yeah, well, her music came out before you were born, so...
And it's not like, our parents weren't really listening. Our parents didn't really listen to English music as such, but we knew about, like, popular English...
Michael Jackson.
Like Michael Jackson, Bee Gees. Who else? Well, our dad liked... Who's that group that sung Rasputin?
Bon Jovi.
Did you like Bon Jovi?
I don't know.
Who's that group that sung Rasputin? Boney M.
Yeah.
He liked Boney M. Yeah. So we heard those, but yeah, never heard of Kate Bush. Anyway, any positives apart from visually? I think the cast is good.
Yeah. The story's good.
The story is mostly good. I've got some issues with some parts of it, but it's mostly good. There is some retconning stuff happening for sure.
There is. Yeah. But you can't just go with it. There's a couple of retcons. I don't know if it is retcons though.
I think it is. I don't think everything that happens in this season, I'm pretty sure they didn't plan for it the way it happened.
But it doesn't ruin anything in the previous season.
It makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense for it to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't plan this earlier.
Yeah. But the same in the MCU. They didn't plan for Infinity War when they did
they
Iron Man 1.
When they did Iron Man 1, probably not. Yeah. But I think by the time they were doing like Thor, which is only like the 4th movie,
I don't think they knew that the thing was an Infinity Stone. I don't think they knew that until way later.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, definitely by the time they did Avengers, they knew.
I don't think they knew it then
because Thanos was in the post-credit scene.
Yeah, but if you think about it, he would have just asked Loki to get that thing and then come back. Why is he taking over Earth?
Thanos taking over Earth?
Yeah. If it was about the stone, then he just gets the stone and comes back. And he gets the stone like halfway through the movie.
Yeah, but I think that was Loki's like that's what Loki wanted to do. That was Loki's motivation.
I don't think
I think Thanos just wanted the stone. I think he's like, get the stone. You do whatever you want. Just get me the stone.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they knew fully what they were doing.
And Thanos' whole backstory this is completely unrelated to Stranger Things, but Thanos' whole backstory in the comics and his like main story is Infinity, right?
Yeah.
So if they're going to introduce that character, I think they knew they were going to do Infinity Stones.
Yeah, but I think that like Marvel's thing is they just throw a lot of stuff and see what stuff sticks. Yeah. And then they do that. Like, and then that stuck. So they're like, let's do this.
Some obvious, like in Marvel, the obvious retcon was how they said that guy and that little kid in Iron Man 2 is Peter Parker or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a retcon for sure. That was not planned because they didn't even have Spider-Man in the MCU back then. So,
but this is more of like the leading up to Infinity War kind of retcon where, like they didn't initially plan for it, but it makes sense.
We can get into more in spoilers because I do have some thoughts on that. Yeah, and I just said before the cast is all good, and obviously we've seen these kids. Well, they're not really kids anymore, but we've seen them since they were kids, and now they're. Do you know they're like most of them are like 20 years old? So, and they look like Dustin still looks like he's 15.
I guess if you get the right haircut and shave or whatever, then you could look.
Although Finn Wolfhard is starting to look his age, I think he doesn't look as young anymore.
Yep.
What was that? In It, they tried to make him like, you know how they had that de-aging thing in It 2, I think?
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't look good. But I guess it kind of they are older anyway in this story, so it kind of makes sense. Negatives-wise, they do split up the cast. Well, they split up the cast, let's just say. And I was expecting certain things to happen, and they didn't happen.
And that's your fault.
I guess it's my fault, but I think there was an opportunity to close up story points in this season, but seems like they just prolonged it so that they can have another season in a way. And we can get into more in spoilers, but that was just like, there were some things that I feel like they were stretched out and they could have just concluded it. There was an opportunity to conclude it. Other things, like the way they split up the cast, certain members do go missing.
Yeah.
And there's definitely story points with certain cast members that are just not that interesting.
Yeah.
And basically not important to the actual plot that's happening. So that was another detraction from the show.
Yeah. I think that's a Stranger Things formula, though. They tend to split up the cast.
Yeah. But it's worked better.
Season 1. Yeah.
Yeah. It has worked better in previous seasons than this one.
Yeah, they've probably got an extra split in this one compared to previous seasons as well.
And they've also introduced some new characters in this season. One of Eddie Munson. In the first episode, I thought this guy is a bit weird. But then as the season goes on, he does grow on you. And I did like him at the end. Other characters they introduced this like basketball team.
Yeah, which was not that interesting.
They do set up some motivation for like the captain, I guess, but it kind of didn't really help the story.
It maybe
that much.
Detracts from the story a little bit too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in volume 2 where they turn up, but they're kind of just there. Yeah. They didn't really have to be there, but that's about it. It's probably the best TV show we've seen this year for sure. If not the last 2 years, couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Music as usual is good as well.
Yes. Yeah. Lots of references as well.
So definite cognitive recalibration from me. I think it's definitely worth a watch.
Definitely.
People get Netflix to watch this show, so it's an obvious. It's their flagship show. There's nothing else that comes close to it, right? That they have currently. What other properties do they have? Like Umbrella Academy is nowhere near this popular.
Just Squid Games.
Squid Game, which was kind of like a one-off phenomenon. Like
I think shows on Netflix get a bit more airtime than shows on other platforms just because
everyone has it.
Like the average person, not a person that like really enjoys movies and TV shows, just the average Joe Blow, like 50 years old.
Our dad.
Yeah, not even our dad, just like a random guy. He would not have Disney Plus, but he probably would have Netflix.
Yeah.
And then you scroll through Netflix and this is the thing that everyone's watching. You probably watch this.
And it's like front and center, like going to Netflix and it's like the first thing you see. So it's, I think, and most people have Netflix, I guess. Like, if you look at subscribers, I think Netflix still has the most subscribers out of all the streaming services. So,
I think because of the name, everyone just, not like Disney Plus, Binge is Australian, but like HBO Max isn't even in Australia.
Yeah. Hulu, which we don't have, but it's part of Disney Plus for us. I think Disney Plus, it's kind of hampered a bit by the name because people hear it like Disney Plus and they think it's just Disney.
Yeah.
And they're not that interested. Whereas, I mean, there's other stuff on it, but I think just hearing the name, they're like, oh, why would I want to get that?
Yeah.
All right. Jump into spoilers. So this is the point in the episode. If you haven't seen Stranger Things Season 4, definitely go watch it. And then come back here and listen to our spoilers. All right, so the groupings that I figured out, it's not like rocket science. It's pretty easy. So Winona Ryder, so Joyce, Hopper, and Murray.
Which is that's a staple grouping since season 2, I think.
Yeah. Although initially it's Joyce and Murray.
Yeah.
And Hopper's in Russia. So this is the other thing.
Hopper and this other guy.
Yeah, this other Russian guy who was in
Game of Thrones.
So they're a grouping. I thought the Hopper thing was
inconsequential.
Yeah, inconsequential, and also it was a bit of a cop-out because he does technically die in the last season. And I think they're just like, David Harbour's just way too good. Like, we have to have him in this show.
I don't think they ever wanted him to die. They just wanted the shock factor at the end of last season, I think. Yeah. I guess if you don't die on camera, you don't die, which is what happens with that other guy in this as well. That comes back. Papa.
Oh, yeah. He died in season
1.
Yeah. And the other guy, did he die as well?
No.
Okay. I thought he's the guy in season 2, right?
He's the guy in season 2.
Owens,
yeah. He gets like attacked, but then they save him. And then he's the guy that creates Eleven's identity.
Yes. Yeah. So he was semi-bad in season 2? Like,
Not really.
He wasn't like good though. He was
like in season 2, they are opening up they're trying to close the portal.
Yeah.
But he's kind of hiding that from Hopper.
Yeah.
I guess that's his bad angle. He's hiding that the portal's still open.
Although,
Yeah.
But in this, he seems like a pretty nice guy.
Yeah, at the end of season 2, he gives her name Jane Hopper or whatever. And
So they're a group, and we can get into. So they're like the Russia group. We can get into thoughts on that. The other group is 11, Brenner and Owens. So they're basically.
I would group this with the other guys as well. Like that, it's the same group.
Which other guys?
Mike, Will.
Oh, they don't meet them till like the last episode.
They're in the same state. But the only interesting part is 11. The other guys aren't that interesting. Yeah. So that's Mike, Will,
Will, Jonathan,
and the high guy.
This other guy. Yeah. That's a new character in this season as well, which we didn't mention.
So their part is not that interesting, but 11's part's a bit more interesting.
Yes, yeah. Their part definitely is the least interesting. I would say it's out of all of them, theirs is the least interesting. And then the other group is Dustin, Lucas, Max, Erica, who's Lucas's sister, who enters probably like halfway through the season, and then Nancy, Steve, and Robin.
And Eddie.
Yes. Yeah.
That's probably the most interesting group.
It is, but it also ends up being pretty inconsequential towards the end of the season. Like, they do stuff. Really, it's 11 that does stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although Nancy kills the villain. Well, injures the villain. Yeah.
Well, the climax was good because all of them are like Hopper's fighting the Demogorgon, Nancy's shooting Vecna, who we'll get into, and then 11's doing something. 11's
crying.
No, isn't she?
She's fighting Vecna.
She's fighting
mind.
Vecna. Yeah. She was crying before that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll get into the main villain of turns out the whole series is Vecna. And we get these throughout the whole season, we get these backstories of 11 when she was in the facility, when she was young. And she meets this character who seemingly seems to just be a guy who works at the facility, but you find out as the season goes on that, well, at the end of volume 1, you find out that he's actually number 1, firstly, and he's also the monster that's creating havoc at the moment. The context of this season is, the first episode, teenagers are getting abducted by some supernatural force. Chrissy, who I completely forgot about, but the whole season starts with her death. She dies, and then Eddie they think it's Eddie because she was with Eddie when it happened. And then Eddie's on the run for the whole season, and the Stranger Things crew are investigating what happened. And Eddie is part of Hellfire Group, who Will's in it, right? Mike, and
Dustin and Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas isn't in it.
No, he is.
Well, not now. Because
well, at the very start of the season, he is.
Is he?
Yeah, he is. And then he says he can't make it to the thing, the final thing, because he's got a basketball game.
Yeah.
And then they have to find an alternate because he can't make it.
Yes, yeah.
So he is initially.
So that's sort of the context of the whole season. So volume 1, what do you think of what happened in volume 1? There's a lot that happens, and you get these groupings that happen in volume 1 itself. So in Russia, Hopper's doing stuff. Like, what does he do with his ankle? Like
he breaks it.
Yeah.
He makes it jelly.
But he's fine after that. Like, he's like, when he escapes?
Yeah. He's running. Yeah. It heals quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a mutant.
Yeah.
But all that is kind of a fail because the guy that was helping him betrays him. And
random guy.
The guy in America that's helping him betrays him. But the guy in Russia that's helping him doesn't betray him. So
he gets betrayed. Yeah. Yep. I thought it was somewhat interesting, but also detracted from the other stuff happening in the season.
Yeah.
Because it has no connection, basically.
What's happening. Yeah. I think volume 1, I found that not to be as interesting. I definitely found the Will and Jonathan stuff to be not that interesting in volume 1, and then they also go missing for like half of that. And 11 stuff also in volume 1, it got more interesting definitely towards the end of volume 1,
but the start wasn't, with her getting bullied and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was okay.
It was all right.
Yeah,
she probably shouldn't have hit that girl with a skate. That was
probably not. Yeah,
that was probably a step. Up till then I was on her side, but you probably shouldn't have done that. She got off though.
I don't know if you go to jail for hitting someone with a skate.
Pretty badly injured. It's probably permanent damage there.
She's a minor. I don't know. I don't know if you go to jail for that.
Yeah. Well, she was going to, right?
She was going to jail. Yeah.
Juvenile. Yeah. Yeah. So that stuff was fine, and she doesn't have friends, which makes sense because
she's antisocial. Well, she doesn't have any social skills.
Yeah. Well, she spent most of her life in a facility with no other people. So, and she's lying to Mike.
Yeah, she says she has a lot of friends, but she doesn't.
So Mike comes because they're somewhere else now. So they move at the end of season 3.
They're in California. Yeah,
they move to. Is it California?
It's California.
Okay. Yeah. Where's Hawkins?
Hawkins is in Indiana.
That's like the first couple of episodes, I think, and then Elle gets arrested, but then she ends up getting
help from Papa. Yeah.
And
she's getting her powers back.
That's right. Yeah, to get her powers back.
And she goes through like flashbacks to get her powers back.
Yeah, throughout the whole season.
Which is where you meet one.
So it got interesting. Even the initial flashbacks were like, why are we seeing this? But as they started to introduce that, he started playing a more prominent role in the flashbacks, it got more interesting. So firstly, that actor was really good.
He's in every like teen, what are they called again? Like Harry Potter.
Is he in Twilight?
Is
he in Twilight?
He is, yeah.
Okay.
What's the other one he's in? He's in like Mortal Instruments or something. What are those called? Like the genre?
Teen fantasies?
There's a word for it, but it's not coming to me. But anyway, he was in like all of those.
Is he in that other one with...
he's not in Hunger Games, I don't think.
Not the other one. They eventually just went to...
Divergent? No, I don't think he's in that. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Okay.
But he's in the big 3. He's in Twilight. I guess the third one's not a big one. He's in the big two. He's in Twilight and Harry Potter.
I'd say the big three are Hunger Games, Twilight, Harry Potter.
Yeah. He's not in Hunger Games. He chose Mortal Instruments instead.
Yeah, which was a wrong choice. And he's also not really in Harry Potter. He's in like he's in a
scene.
It though.
He's in it. Yeah. He's good though.
Is he a main character in Twilight?
I don't know. I haven't seen Twilight. I just know he's in it. He's good in this though.
He's good in this. Yeah. I guess, is this a teen thing?
Nah.
It's a kid thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elementary school.
Yeah. Well, the kids shouldn't watch this.
No, they should. Only kids should. Under 6 only.
They'll be scarred for life. So, no, but he was really good. And he is also like motion captured for Vecna. Like they did
prosthetics.
Prosthetics, yeah. But it's also CGI.
It's added. It's all prosthetic. And then he's got like vines on his neck that actually like move, which is CGI. But everything else is prosthetic.
And his backstory is really interesting. So it's the last episode of. So firstly, my favorite episode was
episode 4.
Episode 4. So Max actually plays a very prominent role in this season because she's getting
killed by Vecna.
She's seemingly going to get killed by Vecna and Vecna also pursues.
He pursues people that are depressed, essentially.
Suffering from some sort of trauma. And she is because her brother was murdered, I guess. Killed. Yeah. In
front of her.
Yeah. So.
And
why is that to open portals?
Yes. So he opens 4 portals. If he kills 4 people, then he can open up to the real world.
From the upside down.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the only reason he could do that is because he stole 11's powers last season.
And the reason he's pursuing these people in particular.
Because they're vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And.
But like if. Maybe he's getting stronger as the season goes on because he does speak with Nancy.
Yeah,
at the end of the season.
Just to give her a warning, essentially.
Yeah. It's a sweet warning.
Yeah. But yeah, the music is the only way that you could stop him from getting to you.
But his backstory is really interesting because they go meet this guy in jail, Nancy, and
who is
Robin,
who plays Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes, and there's a reference to Nightmare on Elm Street in this because
basically he is Freddy Krueger because he kills people in their head. Yeah, and his hand looks like his left hand looks like Freddy Krueger's hand.
And don't they talk about Nightmare on Elm Street in this? They mention it at some stage because it's like in the cinemas or like they mention it because they talk about
Police Academy 6.
Police Academy, yeah. They're like, no, it sucks.
Yeah.
They go meet him and then they find out his backstory. And he was arrested and goes to jail because they think he killed his family, but it wasn't him. It was
his son. Yeah.
His son, who is number 1. Yeah. And then number 1 goes a bit rogue as well. So he has to have some sort of chip in it.
He has like an inhibitor. Yeah. Which he basically coerces 11 into taking it out of him. And then he kills everyone.
So we always thought that 11 committed those murders, or
you kind of see a flashback to it initially, and it looks like 11 killed everyone.
But it wasn't her.
It was him.
It was him. But then she sends him to
the upside down. Yep. But then she loses all her memories
conveniently.
Yeah. They had to do that, otherwise the rest of the show doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Because she kind of talks properly in this as well.
Yes.
So she essentially, because when you first meet her, she doesn't know how to talk properly.
So that's basically takes us to the end of Volume 1. Anything else happen in Volume? And the basketball team is kind of...
They're trying to kill Eddie.
They're going a bit rogue as well.
That part's not interesting at all. We should touch on it. It's just, it detracts from the story.
It was just a bit weird that this guy was...
that invested in killing... I know it's his girlfriend and everything, but yeah.
He was basically willing to become a murderer to... he was going to kill people, essentially.
Yeah.
But he's good at doing motivational speeches.
Yes. Yeah. Captain America style.
But yeah, that's end of Volume 1. And you find out at the very end of Volume 1 that Vecna is one.
Yes. And is also Henry Creel.
Yes.
Henry?
Yes. Henry. Nancy, they did that really well, how Nancy, it's all parallel. So 11... It's in 11's memories.
11 sends him to the upside down. Nancy finds out he's Henry Creel.
Yes.
And Hopper's in Russia.
That's still happening.
That's happening.
But and at this stage, is Joyce in Russia yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Joyce's, this is why it's not that interesting, but Joyce's story is she gets some cryptic messages from Russia, and then her and Murray actually go to Russia
to get Hopper. Yep.
But then the pilot that they recruit is a bit dodgy, and he sells them out.
Let's just finish off their story because it's not that interesting. Yeah, they save Hopper, but then they go back. They go back and burn some demigorgons.
Yeah,
because they think it's going to help 11.
Yeah, how did they find out that stuff was happening in Hawkins again?
Because they call the guy. The guy?
Which guy?
I don't know his name. Not Papa, but the other guy.
Owens, yeah.
Owens, yeah. They call him, but his assistant picks up and says that he's like, he can't get to the phone right now because he's busy.
Yeah.
And then she says that the girl is in Nina or whatever, and like there's trouble in Hawkins.
Yes. Yeah. So they find out, and then they're like, "Yo, we got to go back to the facility and kill a demigorgon." And they have this sword,
which comes out of nowhere. Yeah. But that was cool.
Yeah, that was not that interesting. I guess they kind of help in the end, but not really. They also leave Hopper's. Like, no one knows that Hopper's alive. Like, all the kids don't know that he's alive
until the end.
Till the very end. After everything happens, he comes to Hawkins. Other thing I wanted to mention was there's another subplot with the army wanting to get a hold of 11 because they think she's committing all the murders.
But she just kills all of them. Except the guy. The guy's still alive, I guess, the main guy.
The main guy, yeah.
But it doesn't really make sense because all the murders are still happening when 11's in. She's not in Hawkins.
Yeah, she's not in Hawkins. Yeah. Maybe she can telepathically.
Maybe.
Or something.
Yeah.
But that's happening as well. And there's this other. They go to Dustin's girlfriend's.
That's like Will and
that's
Mike.
Another side story to like get them to have something to do while more important stuff's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So volume 2, there's only 2 episodes. One is at like an hour and a half, and the other one's 2.5 hours, so pretty long, 4 hours of content. First episode, despite being as long as it was,
kind of sets up the second episode where they figure out a plan, what they're going to do, essentially. What does 11 do in this episode?
11, so the army come together, and then she
kills all of them. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She, firstly, they're like, oh, you got to get to Hawkins, and then Papa's like, well, it's gonna rain pretty hard here. Probably can't hear it, but there's thunder.
Is that thunder? Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
No, they're like, oh, you got to go to Hawkins, and then Papa's
she's like, we can't make it there.
Papa's like, no, you're not going.
Oh, that's right. Papa tries to stop her. Yeah, but then Papa dies. He actually dies this time on screen, shot.
The army guys kill him,
and then they figure out they can't make it to Hawkins in time, so she has to do like an ice bath.
Yes, that's in volume 2. That's in the second episode of volume 2.
Yeah.
In this one, they get her at the very end because so Will, Jonathan, and Mike
and the other guy, Argyle.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see the pizza he made?
Yeah, pretty good.
Looked nice.
Yeah.
And the concept of pineapple on pizza was probably just coming in at that stage because it's like 80s. So
not a huge fan of pineapple on pizza. I know people. Well, lots of our friends love it. Yeah. Whenever they order the pizza, they always get pineapple on it. So
I don't like it, but recently margarita with pineapple.
Yeah, well, that's a staple of one of our friends.
Yeah, that's a combination.
I think it's okay. Like I think it would taste better without the pineapple, but with the pineapple, it's still good. But without the pineapple, I think it would actually be better.
I think, it's margarita, chili flakes, and pineapple. I think that's the combination.
But if you take the pineapple off that, it tastes better.
Still tastes, yeah.
Yeah,
tastes better.
But with the pineapple, it's okay. It's still good.
It's manageable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever we used to get pizza and there was pineapple, and we always used to remove the pineapple.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they put her in an ice bath in the second episode. But other stuff that happens in the first episode is so Steve and that crew, which is a pretty big crew now because they've got Steve, Nancy,
Robin, Eddie, Lucas, Dustin, Max, Erica.
Yeah. So and this is probably not in terms of the plot, but in terms of the character interactions, this is the most interesting
Yeah.
Out of all of them.
But essentially, the older ones go into the Upside Down and the younger ones stay outside.
Yes.
And
and at the end of Volume 1, they
Nancy's in the Upside Down.
And Steve as well?
And Steve, yeah.
Yeah, and Steve.
But that's when Vecna gives the warning or whatever.
Because when did they go? Oh, no, that's the second last episode when Steve goes in and he gets bitten by bats or whatever.
Yeah. And then they kind of...
And then they go in as well and they save him. So these guys are actually in the Upside Down.
Yes, four of them are in the Upside Down. Yeah.
Because then they all go in the Upside Down later. Or some of them go in the Upside Down. More of them go in the Upside Down.
No, it's only the four of them.
Doesn't Dustin go in?
Oh, yeah, Dustin does actually. Yeah, Dustin, but Erica, Max, and Lucas are
outside.
not. Yeah.
But then this is where the basketball captain dude, what's his name? Jason or something?
Yeah.
He intervenes. He has the most, he dies?
Unceremonious, yeah.
Most unceremonious death.
Well, we'll get to that. Get to that, essentially, they've formulated a plan to distract Vecna, and then who was it? Steve, Robin, and Nancy will kill Vecna, essentially.
Yes.
And Eddie and Dustin try and distract the bats.
Yeah.
And he plays Master of the Puppets by Metallica on his guitar.
Yeah. And then he dies.
Yeah. Yep. And then he dies by the bats. And Max has to distract Vecna, and then 11 helps her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remotely. Yeah.
Yeah.
By Microsoft Teams. Working from home.
She dials in. Mike and Will. So firstly, we got to talk about Will.
Will's in love with Mike. And
I think,
it's implied, but it's heavily implied. It's
obvious,
not subtle. Yeah.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And Mike's kind of oblivious to it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Mike's
still is. Yeah.
He still is. Yeah. And he's also I think Mike's probably the most useless character in this season.
Yeah. Well, Will's giving Mike pep talks to say that Mike needs to give pep talks
to Elle. Yeah.
So then Will gives Mike the pep talk, and then Mike gives Elle the pep talk.
Yeah.
And then Elle beats Vecna.
And there's this line about he's the heart of the team.
Yeah. I guess he is though. He is the part, especially season 1.
He says something that rhymes. I forgot what it was. It's it will fall apart if we lose the heart or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Anyway, he gives a pep talk, and then 11 beats Vecna in her head. But it's all in vain because he gets Max too soon. He kills Max.
Yeah.
He kind of half kills Max. She dies, but then 11 brings her back.
So he breaks her hands and legs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think she's still alive at that stage.
But she does die. Yep. But then 11 brings her back somehow.
Which is not explained.
No. Yep.
Yeah. Doesn't someone does this in Star Wars? Ray does it, or does Ben Solo do it? Oh, no, she does it to Ben, and then he dies. No.
He does it. No.
He does it to her, and then he dies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they also do it on that snake.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
She does something. So Max is still in a coma.
She's in a coma.
Yeah, but Elle tries to go into her mind, but she's not there. So there's a theory about this. You know how one says that all of them, when he kills all of the other numbers, he says they're all in his mind or something?
Oh, okay. Yep.
So I think all the murders that he commits, the soul of those people are still within him.
Okay.
So I think that's how they get Max back, and potentially all the other people. Chrissy, yeah.
Yeah, but her body's
gone. So maybe if the body starts to exist.
Yeah.
So maybe they're not coming back.
Yeah.
But I think Max is probably going to come back.
But because he gets his 4th kill, though, he opens up the portal to the Upside Down.
Yes.
And the final shot is just the whole crew looking at the Upside Down, kind of merging with Hawkins.
I thought the plan actually, multiple things that come into the plan, like the stuff in Russia actually does sort of help as well. And then obviously Nancy and the crew's plan basically comes together. It works out.
It works out other than Max dying.
Yeah. Basically works out the way they wanted it to. And they seemingly do kill Vecna, but
they shoot him.
Yeah.
But then when they look out the window, he's
not
gone.
There. Yeah. Which was okay.
That is what happens at the end of Halloween, the first Halloween.
Yeah. Which I'm like, I feel like they could have probably finished it there. And then towards the end, Will is like, oh, he's getting like goosebumps, and he's like, oh, this stuff's he's still around.
Yeah. And you find out like the person that initially trapped Will was Vecna. Yes. So he knows Vecna.
He knows how to. And they also talk about how Will communicated when he was in the Upside Down in this, how he used like light to like communicate. They kind of go into that a little bit more in this, which was interesting.
I think they couldn't have finished it. They would have had to do a few more episodes to finish it this season, which was already a longer season than previous seasons.
No, I think the only reason they didn't finish it, I think that there was everything there where they could have finished it in this episode.
But
like Vecna could have died.
But they're all not in the same place.
Right. The only reason they didn't do it was they wanted like the full reunion.
Everyone needs to be in the same place.
Maybe everyone comes to Hawkins and they fight it together. Yeah. So they wanted that.
And they've confirmed that the next season will just be Hawkins. So they'll all be together.
So I can get why they did that, but it wasn't. They could have earned it better.
Yeah,
there's another way they could have done it.
I would have liked it. I liked it better that they're going to be all together though.
Yeah. Because I was expecting that to happen this season actually.
But I don't think they could have done it this season because it's already long and it would have taken a couple of episodes to kind of.
There's stuff they could have sped up. Like the stuff in Russia didn't have to go through the whole season.
Yeah.
That didn't need to go through the whole season. The side quests that Will and Mike go on, that didn't need to go on for the whole season. I guess 11's thing kind of made sense, like the way they paced it. The stuff that was happening in Hawkins, I think that was paced okay. But definitely the Russia stuff and the
other stuff,
like they don't actually do that much. So I think they could have sped it up for sure. But otherwise, it's a good show, and a lot of people like this show.
Yes,
like it's got a very wide audience, which also makes sense why it's got so many views. A lot of people that generally wouldn't be into this type of show like this show. Like my wife likes this show. She actively watches it. Like we plan to watch it together, but she ends up just watching it without me. Yeah. So, and the last episode, we started way too late. So we're like, we finished the second last episode and we're like, let's just watch the last one tomorrow. But it kind of ends on like a
cliffhanger.
Semi cliffhanger. Like we're like, okay, let's just find out what happens. Let's watch the first 10 minutes. And we started at like 9:45. And we're like, okay, we'll watch 10 minutes. And we're like, okay, we'll watch another 10 minutes. We watched the whole thing and finished at almost 1 a.m.
Yeah. Well, the last episode's essentially a movie. Yeah.
So we were planning to stop it, but it just kept getting more interesting. So we just watched the whole thing. So my recommendation is don't watch it late. Plan it. Because the last episode, you probably don't want to split up. So you probably want to watch it in one
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So.
But good show. And I am looking forward to season 5, but we'll have to see.
It'll probably be in like 3 years' time.
Yeah. But I don't think they could wait that long because the kids will be.
They're doing a time jump apparently.
Can they though? It feels like the Upside Down's already.
Apparently, it's a time jump to the next season.
How many years? Like
I don't know.
Because if they go 3 years, does that mean like the Upside Down's fully opened up?
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. I have a feeling it'll be kind of like a apocalyptic scenario.
Also, at the end of Volume 1, everyone had theories about who's going to die and stuff. So I thought
Eddie would die.
I personally thought Eddie, just because
they love killing off new characters. In every season, they kill one new character.
Probably, that. And the stuff he says, well, every character says something that could lead them to dying. So like
they always hint at Steve dying. They always Steve
was heavily implied,
but every season Steve's heavily implied to die.
Yeah,
and he doesn't because he's probably the best character in the show.
Doesn't happen. I think it's kind of implied that Hopper might die again.
Yeah.
Or like maybe Joyce.
But Hopper already died once, so I don't think they're killing him again.
I don't think they'll kill him again.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'll kill Joyce. Or maybe they will.
I think Will's going to die, probably.
Yeah. Have you noticed how Joyce has got progressively less important for this show?
Yeah. She was the most important in season 1. Yeah.
Maybe Will.
I think Will's probably going to die, most likely. Or maybe no one will die. Yeah.
Or maybe Mike.
Yeah.
But maybe not. After all this, I don't think Steve is actually going to die.
Steve is heavily implied to die. But look, if there's any reason you kill him, it's in the last season because you can't kill him before the last season because effectively he's the fan favorite character. If you kill him, lots of people will not watch the next season.
But if they kill him in the last season, maybe it's like, if he has it like a heroic death, then maybe. But I think so there's also like this they're kind of bringing back the Nancy and Steve romance in this season as well.
Maybe that's why he has to die. So
So Jonathan is deserted. Like, firstly, he's doing his own thing the whole season, so they never actually meet till the end. But he's also having second thoughts about their relationship because he got into uni somewhere else or something like that.
Yeah, he wants to go to uni somewhere else or something. He wants to go to uni in California, I think, to be with his family or
and
something
then Nancy
like that.
was going somewhere else, and they're like, he couldn't tell her or whatever. So I think one of two things will happen. So either they'll just get together again, they'll sort things out, or she'll get back together with Steve and Jonathan dies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly. Jonathan and Will both can't die, though.
Just kill off their whole family. Kill Joyce as well while you're at it.
Yeah, I don't know how many people will die in the last season, but I know it'll end on a happy note, but I'm sure there will be some deaths along the way.
Highly doubt Elle will die.
No, you would hope.
Yeah.
You would hope not.
Yeah. Who's the least likely to die?
Mike.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
No, probably like Dustin.
I can't see them killing Dustin. Or like, I don't know, like Lucas's sister. She's probably not going to die.
Yeah. Or maybe they will kill Dustin because he's also a fan favorite character. Yeah.
The fan favorite is Dustin and Steve.
And Dustin, Steve, and Robin, I think.
Yeah.
Like them three together. They could kill Robin as well. It was hinted that Robin and Steve would die in this season as well, but
the girl from Anne with an E is in the show?
she's probably going to be in the next season, I guess. Yeah.
You think she's going to die?
Probably not. Apparently, people's theorize that Eddie's going to come back as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
How?
As like a
Ghost.
vessel for Vecna.
As a vessel for Vecna. Like in a good way?
Like he'll be bad. He'll be a villain.
Like a zombie.
Yeah, which could be interesting.
Yeah.
But probably by the time it comes out, we'll forget most of this. Yeah. And I'll have to rewatch it.
I did forget that Will was Jonathan's brother.
Okay, that's a pretty big thing to forget.
Because they don't ever talk to each other. And they're actually like pretty different. So, but there was one scene in this where they do talk to each other. I'm like, oh, wait, these guys are brothers.
I did rewatch the whole show before I watched it. So I was.
Okay. Because they don't they kind of grow pretty. I think in season 1 they're
season 1 and 2 they're very close.
Yeah, but then
season 3 it splits a little bit.
So we'll see what happens season 5 whenever that comes out.
I think that about covers it. Yeah. It's a good show. Yeah.
We probably missed stuff. There's a lot that happens in this season, and we did finish it like 2 weeks ago, so we are going off our very bad memories. All right, we finally finished this episode. We've been struggling to do this for the last couple of days, but we've finally done it. We've got one more in the backlog, which is Top Gun. We'll do that at some stage, and then we're pretty much up to date, I think. We just got to do Obi-Wan as well to date, and nothing's really coming out, so we'll do some. Well, boys will do as well.
Yeah, you haven't seen that though. Yeah, you haven't seen any of it.
Yeah, so we'll do all 3 seasons at once. All right. It seems like Vecna's here. Suddenly it's got all dark and
it's not great outside.
Not looking too good. So if people want to get in touch with us and tell us about how they felt about Stranger Things 4, how do they go about it?
So you can contact us at cognitiverecalibrationpodcast@gmail.com, or we're on all other platforms at Cognitive Recalibration.
Yeah. And if you want to support the podcast, you can do so by giving us a review on iTunes or Spotify, as that makes us more discoverable on search engines. Cool. So hope you enjoyed this episode. We enjoyed finally finishing it. And we enjoyed talking about Stranger Things as well. So hope you're all staying safe, and we'll see you in the next one.
See ya.